when people say I'm living the American dream, I think they really mean that they're living the life of being free, of not being in like a communist type country.
Are we free?
No. In my opinion, migrant working was just another name for slavery.
Hoje nós temos aqui para iniciar esse quadro maravilhoso que eu estou super feliz de fazer, porque eu adoro conhecer pessoas, eu adoro entrar em bolhas diferentes no qual eu não estou acostumado a entrar, adoro entender o outro lado. E hoje nós temos aqui uma nativa americana e eu tô super ansioso para fazer um monte de perguntas sobre esse país maravilhoso, sobre a cultura desse país, a cultura dela, e comparar, obviamente, com a nossa cultura brasileira, porque essa é a ideia, ver que essa diversidade entre os brasileiros e outras pessoas ao redor do mundo tem mais que acrescentar do que se distanciar. Nada melhor quadro aqui para poder exemplificar que nós brasileiros estamos abertos para todo mundo que quer nos conhecer e nós estamos aqui também para conhecer todo mundo, inclusive os mínimos detalhes. Temos aqui hoje a minha chefe, ela se chama Tiffany e ela tirou um tempinho para poder vir aqui e tirar essas dúvidas, sanar essas dúvidas com a gente. E eu já quero começar perguntando coisas que vêm aqui na minha cabeça e atiçam a curiosidade.
Quebrar um pouco de alguns paradigmas, né? Um pouco dos achismos que a gente tem, que a gente acha que é, ou que Hollywood nos pregou através dos filmes, né? Então nós estamos aqui hoje com ela para quebrar preconceitos ou esses achismos, né?
É isso daí. Então vamos começar. Essa entrevista vai ser em inglês, porque ela não fala português, mas eu vou colocar a legenda para você aí embaixo. Okay? Thank you, Miss Tiffany, for being here with us to share your experience with us and also to take your time to answer my questions.
You're so welcome.
Okay?
Thank you for having me.
When I say the word Brazil, what comes in your mind? Yeah, I'm gonna make you think.
I think when I think of Brazil, I think about colors, like all the bright fabrics and colors, because I used to like to look at like different clothing and stuff like that. So when you see Brazilian clothing, you see all these nice bright patterns and you know how they are able to mix and match their patterns together and make really cute outfits. So it's always been the clothes for me.
Okay, we all have a stereotype from a place, from people, especially from countries.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any specific stereotype from a Brazilian woman, a Brazilian guy, Brazil in general? Do you have any?
No, I don't think I've being stereotypical is like being closed-minded and not being able to allow yourself to get to know other people or to understand other people. But I'm like one of those type of people that I want to know. Because how about if I never make it to Brazil, but all I could do is meet you? Mm-hmm. So you're my passage to Brazil. Okay. So
yeah, that's interesting. Were you born and raised here in South Carolina?
No, I was born and raised in North Carolina.
If you could choose a state here in the United States to live the rest of your life, which state would you choose?
Oh, that's hard.
Because we gotta consider a lot of things.
Right.
Cost of living. But I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about culturally.
Yeah, you know, it's like when you think about that, you think that, like I'm from North Carolina, and I thought when I lived in North Carolina, I hated it because that's where I grew up. And then I moved here to South Carolina, and I'm thinking, why did I come here? There's nothing to do here either. So then, then you think about, oh, Boston is beautiful, but I don't like the snow. And then you think about Florida and be like, oh my gosh, Florida, there's too many tornadoes and hurricanes. And then you think about going out to California and be like, oh my gosh, there's earthquakes. So everywhere you go, there's going to be something.
Okay, but come on, you gotta pick one.
I gotta pick one.
You got 50 options.
Isn't that crazy?
Alaska?
50. No. I'll be rich in the summertime and poor in the wintertime because you can't go to work, right? Because it's dark. Let's see. I would maybe say New Orleans, only because I've never really spent a lot of time there. I've been there, but they have a lot of different, I've never got to study the Creole side of people and all that kind of stuff. Like they have a lot of good food there too. So
Okay. So New Orleans,
which is let's see, New Orleans is in
the middle, I think. I'm not sure.
It's
I'm not good at geography, though.
New Orleans is the city. See, that's the thing.
Okay, yeah.
New Orleans is in Louisiana.
It
is
That's
Louisiana.
That's true. I was wondering, okay, but Louisiana is the state. So, as a migrant, even when I was in Brazil, I've heard the famous phrase "American dream." So, what is actually the American dream for a Native American?
I think that when people say I'm living the American dream, I think they really mean that they're living the life of being free, of not being in like a communist type country, or the freedom to be able to elect who you have as president and having a voice in government and all that kind of stuff. It's just not like that there's this great dream and we're doing what we want to do, but I think it's just the freedom of having those options. So,
do you think here in America, all of us, the Native Americans and all the migrants, are we free?
No.
So why not?
Why not?
I just started and I'm loving it.
You just crossed the line. Okay, so let's see. I feel like maybe because there's been like
that's
America is known for different things that has gone on in the country, like being able to have slavery and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like it's not all dead. It's not all dead, and that it's not all gone, and that it probably never will, because it's like regression happens every so often. But I feel like it's a barrier, an unspoken barrier in people having the same treatment, the same allotments, the same allocations as other people. The same voice, the same abilities, the same credit, the same all those different things. So
that are such a good point. So we have, especially recently, experienced watching on news a lot of news about migrants crossing the border, and I've seen a lot of news saying that the scenario is changing to the worse. What do you, as American natives, think about immigration?
So I don't watch news. Let's just say that I don't watch news because it's always sad. It's never anything that's like, that makes you happy. It like makes you more depressed, and you just feel like things are in the world are just never going to get better. So I don't really watch news a whole lot. But I remember maybe 2 or 3 years ago watching when they had a vast amount of immigrants coming from like Guatemala and all these other different states. And then I realized that, and this is something that I didn't know that there was immigrants coming from Africa crossing through all these states like Guatemala, Salvador, coming into Mexico, trying to cross the border. I was like, how did the African people get across from a whole nother continent?
Yep.
So I was like, how does that happen? So, I was watching it, and all I can do is think that, you think it's bad where you are, but you haven't gotten here yet.
Okay.
But you haven't gotten here yet. And so it's like, because the picture is painted that America is great, and I'm not saying that my country is not great. What I'm saying is that it's equally hard here as it is there on a different level. Like, you can be born here and still have issues and still have nothing, and still be eating peanut butter and jelly, where you could be over there and eating rice and beans. So I mean, it's still a bad situation, because then when you get here, you have to find somewhere to live and somewhere to lay your head, and you have to have the proper documentation and the proper paperwork to be able to sustain the job that you want. Because years ago, like 20, 30 years ago, they could come across the border, come here and be considered migrant workers, is what they used to call them, and they would work as field hands. But there's no fields anymore, because technology has now put machines in place that they can't do that. But in my opinion, migrant working was just another name for slavery to me.
That's a really, really good point. I've heard from Brazilians, especially when I was there, that they have a certain point of view about United States. Most of them, not everyone of course, but most of them think every single American is rich. Is that right? Is that true?
I wish. Where's my money?
So you tell me you're not rich?
Never that.
Okay. Do you know someone who's really rich in the United States?
People on TV?
Okay. What is being rich for you?
Well, I mean, it depends on, like, in America, being rich means wealthy to most people, to 90% of the people. For me, being rich means having good health, having my family's health, and having great people around me, and just being able to live and have the things that I would like to have and some of the things that I want. You know, as long as I have a roof over my head, I feel like we're living the dream, you know, because there's so many people who don't have food to eat, don't have a roof over their head. This is, you know, we live, you know, people think that in America, they're not bad things that go on. There are people that own homes that don't have homeowners insurance because they paid off their home and didn't feel like they need it anymore. And then their house catch fire and they're homeless and they're living on the streets. There's so many homeless people here.
Yep.
There's so many people eating out the trash cans. There's people that come to our job and that's outside and they're digging through our trash. And I go out there and say, do you want something to eat? Go in the bathroom, wash your hands and clean up and come inside and I'll feed you. I just can't, you know, so many people believe that here there's an overabundance of cash flow. There are jobs that you can work to make money, but it's not like we're making a very like thousands of dollars an hour, you know, like people believe. But I believe that when you have good health and you have a good family setting and you're good to people and people are good back to you and you have a good group of people that you are surrounded by every day that can give you love and you can give love back, that's better than any money that you could ever get.
Tell me 3 unique things in America, in your point of view.
3 unique things in America. The first thing I think is the beaches, the water.
Okay.
The fresh seafood. I'm sure they have that other places, but here, being around the water and having the freshest seafood to come right out the water and being able to purchase it and not being frozen is one of the most wonderful things ever.
Being able to purchase. That's the word. I'm pretty sure every single country had the opportunity to bring the food from the sea.
From the sea.
Right from the sea.
But being able to purchase it.
But being able to purchase, it's another whole story.
That's true.
So, good point.
Second is to be able to travel and to be able to allot yourself the time and the funds to be able to go see what it has to offer. Like, there's so many beautiful places, like beautiful beaches, the Grand Canyon, the Eiffel, the Statue of Liberty, just different things that are just Martha's Vineyard. I mean, just many, 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 many things that are beautiful so that you can see. But to travel the United States, to see different things and to do the things that, you know, people tell you that are here. You know, why come somewhere and never get to visit the things that are here? And the third thing, and I know this probably for most people would be the first thing, but I feel like you should always put your dreams first and what you want to do, and then everything else will fall in place. But to find a job in a place that makes you happy and that allows you to just be you. Not to change who you are, but to be you.
Wow, that's deep. That's really deep. We've been noticing a lot of things around generations. Gen Z and generations before that, and the differences between generations. What have you noticed recently about it?
The generation that is working for me right now on my second shift is terrible. Okay, so
famous Gen Z, probably, right?
So Gen Z, Gen X, you know, it's just, but it's a difference in the work ethic. I think the generations is the work ethic. Like, we went from generations, like maybe like 4 generations back, where people worked in the fields and worked field hands and did all that kind of stuff, farmlands and stuff. And then I'm come from the generation that we had to get a job, work hard, accomplish things, build your life, do all this stuff, take care of the things that your forefathers and your grandparents left you. And then there's my daughter's generation that they want everything microwavable.
Okay.
They want to hit 1 minute and they want the car to come right out the microwave. Like, ta-da! It's here! They want to do very little work for a high wage.
Mm-hmm.
So every
How old is your daughter?
28.
28. Okay.
28.
That's my generation.
Yeah.
But from a different culture.
Yeah.
But from a different culture. Because that's when the difference in the cultural norms kick in, is that most other countries, the generation cycle never breaks. It stays in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one changes.
Yeah, you got a really good point.
The foundation. But in America, these are so freely given. And I'm for my daughter, it's my fault. I'll take all responsibility because I used to have to go work in the fields and pick blueberries and potatoes and all that stuff. And I didn't want her to do that. They didn't have it anymore anyway, but I didn't want her to have to do a whole lot of manual labor, right? Okay. So she went to McDonald's. Of course, my first job.
But why?
McDonald's is America's first job. 90% of Americans have worked at McDonald's as their first job.
Yep.
So she went straight to McDonald's, got a job. My aunt worked there. My aunt was a manager, she's gonna get the job. So, so then I had her there, and then I still wanted, my mom couldn't afford to buy me name brand shoes. And of course, this is America. Everybody wants to have what their friends have. When I was growing up, you had what you could have.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. And so I gave too much and expected too little back in return.
Okay.
And I think that's what happens. Every single generation in America gets that way because we give too much as parents because we didn't have it. But then you see other cultures, they stuck to the fact that this is what I had, this is what you're going to have. It's not going to change. The school system was different. Here, you got everybody in school wearing different clothes and there's a competition and, children get bullied and they get treated badly because they don't have the latest and the greatest. And then there's other countries where they're wearing a uniform from the time they go to school in kindergarten all the way through. So everybody's dressed alike. Everybody's alike. Everybody has the same stuff, white shoes, green, white shoes, red shirt, blue pants, everybody looks uniform. Yep. And here someone has Jordans, $200 Jordans. And then, you're working 50 hours of overtime to get your child a pair of Jordans, so.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's where the cultural and the social norms comes into play with just everyday life and the different cultures, because most cultures don't break down like American culture does. So these generation cycles, you'll see them in America, but you won't see them in Brazil. You won't see them in Mexico. You won't see them in Africa. You won't see them in Asia. You won't see them in any of those places because the expectation of those countries is to get your education, go to college, get a good job, make your family proud, earn your family's money. You have an expectation from the day you were born. And in America, your expectation changes from 1 year to the next.
I don't want to extend more. It's not a podcast. I would like to have you here for 5-6 more hours. But we have such an interesting point here. I brought to Miss Tiffany Brazilian food. A gente quer trazer para esse quadro aqui um pouquinho do nosso Brasil para as pessoas que estão aqui compartilhando um pouquinho do país delas, ou da cultura delas, ou da bolha delas. E o melhor jeito de levar o Brasil para as pessoas, eu acho que é através da comida, né? A gente criou esse quadro aqui para que as pessoas que estejam aqui conosco conversando prove a comida brasileira e seja principalmente honesta para saber se realmente nós temos a melhor comida do mundo. Então vamos ver. Nada melhor do que começar com pão de queijo, porque para quem não sabe, né, eu sou de Minas, sou de Belo Horizonte, a Gleice também é de Belo Horizonte, e ver qual que vai ser a nota que ela vai dar. Então, bora lá. So, Miss Tiffany, here we have pão de queijo, not cheese bread. Please, don't say it to me.
Okay, so enunciate again so I can get it. Pão.
Pão.
Bom.
Pão.
Ah!
P.
Oh, pão. Okay.
Pão de
De
queijo.
queijo.
Yeah.
Pão de queijo. Okay.
Yes.
Pão
I got
de
it.
queijo.
Okay, no cheese bread.
No cheese bread, please.
You sure?
Okay.
Okay.
Please try it
I
and
will try
let
it.
us know your
I can break it in
opinion.
half, right?
Huh?
I can open it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever you want, you can open it or
Yeah,
just
no,
bite it
I
or
play with food.
play with that. Whatever you want, just let me know. It's very cheesy, as you can see.
So vai dar frio, né?
I want your honest opinion.
It's good.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
0 to 10.
10.
10?
Because I like the cheese and it's very airy. Like the bread is very airy. Like
Okay.
it's not heavy. Like you thought, like when you have a biscuit.
Yeah, the biscuit's heavy.
So the biscuit's heavy, but this is very light and airy. Like, and it's kneaded just like perfectly because you can taste the cheese in every bite. Like when you chew,
Yep.
it's very cheesy.
Yep.
But you can't see the cheese.
No, because
Which is
it's
crazy.
made by cheese, so it's kind of the whole thing is cheese, but it's made by
whole thing?
cassava flour and cheese, basically. Can you feel the cassava stuff or flour or something?
Well, like with cassava, you made a cassava root, right?
Yep.
And made it into flour.
Mhm.
Okay, the only thing I ever had a cassava was I had cassava pudding before.
Okay.
That's a long, long time ago. Don't ask me how she made it, but I just know that's what they
I
called it.
never heard it.
But I didn't know you can make cassava flour. But this is amazing.
Yeah, we usually
Fala que a gente come isso geralmente no café da manhã, no café da tarde, de noite e na hora do almoço.
eat the pão de queijo in the breakfast with coffee. We usually eat in the afternoon, lunch sometimes.
It's like an all-day appetizer.
Yeah, I would say it. Especially in my state, which is famous for having the best pão de queijo ever. We eat it whenever we had a chance.
I could eat it
Okay.
a lot.
Next.
So 0 to 10. 10.
Yay!
So we good. We good. We good.
Próximo, coxinha. Coxinha.
Coxinha. I love the way she said that. That's cute.
So now we have. Aqui a gente tem agora a coxinha. Now we have a coxinha, which is I don't know how to describe it. It's a dough. Qual tipo de massa é essa? I don't know. I don't know how to describe food.
Okay, so I'm gonna taste it and I'll describe it to
Please,
you.
just
Okay.
do it.
I'm gonna take it.
Okay.
So there's meat in the middle.
Yeah, that's chicken in the middle. I like top to the bottom.
So if you were an American, you would say this was a stuffed hush puppy. You know what a hush puppy is?
No.
So a hush puppy is like cornmeal, like masa, and it's fried. You mix it, and then you just put it in a ball, and you put it in the oil,
Okay.
and you fry it. But it's not stuffed. It's just the whole thing, and you fry it. And people eat it with fish and coleslaw.
Okay.
So
this one specifically, we have a cheese that I think we only have this kind of cheese in Brazil. It's called requeijão. No, catupiry. I personally love it, but how about you? What do you think?
it's very interesting
Why?
because you stuffed a hush puppy.
Okay. It reminds you that the hush.
Right. So like I'm in love with cornmeal
Okay.
or masa because it's like the
So-
best thing ever.
What would you say, 0 to 10?
I'm gonna say 8.
8?
I'm gonna say 8.
Because it's heavy.
Mm,
Pão de queijo.
I think it's the cheese.
The cheese. We didn't like the cheese.
I don't think I like. I want.
That's interesting because we try to find without the cheese, because I know for some people the cheese in the middle, but we couldn't find it.
It's okay. I mean, I had to try something different, so that's the whole thing. It's the name of the game.
Yeah. Next time I'll bring without
It's the name of the game.
Yeah.
I think it's the cheese.
Okay. Now
Pedir ela pra provar o refrigerante.
I'm gonna give you the soda.
Okay.
Não podia faltar o Guaraná, Antártica. Aqui eles têm um refrigerante bem similar ao Guaraná, mas não chega nem perto, que é o Gingerbread. mas vamos ver qual que vai ser o que ela vai achar. So we have Guaraná Antarctica, which is the most famous drink in Brazil, made in Brazil. We also have Guaraná in our country. I'm not sure, but I think it's the only country that produce Guaraná in the world. So give it a shot.
I'll give it a try. Looks like ginger ale. Tastes like ginger ale.
You like it?
Just a little. Tastes like ginger ale, just not as fizzy.
Okay.
And not as ginger. It's a little bit sweeter.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's good. It's like almost like a ginger cherry type thing. It's like a tastes like cherry and ginger.
Which one you like most, the ginger ale or the Guaraná?
Well, you know I grew up on ginger ale, so you know I'm gonna say ginger ale.
Okay. Fair enough. So now we have some desserts. We have brigadeiro and we have paçoquinha. So this one is chocolate. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, it's chocolate made in a special way. Okay, take it, try it, and tell me if you had a chocolate like that in your life. I believe not.
It's dark chocolate, so that's good.
I don't think so. It's more milk chocolate, I think.
No, it's dark. It's soft.
It is.
How'd you get chocolate to be gel-like? That's a ancient Chinese Brazilian secret?
Brazilian secret.
It's good.
You like it?
Mm-hmm. It's really smooth.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's really smooth.
Jelly, maybe.
Really like, almost like a creamy, like gelato, like type of, it's giving gelato vibes.
Okay.
But it's good. I don't like gelato, but I like the chocolate. I like dark chocolate.
Okay.
But this is really good because it's smooth.
Okay.
It's really smooth. Really, really good.
0 to 10?
A 10.
10? Oh.
This is really, really good.
Okay.
It's really, really good.
All right.
Like, I want to save this until I go to bed tonight.
All right.
This is really good.
I give you some to go.
That's really good.
Now we have paçoquita, and I don't know how to describe it. Just take it and try it.
Okay.
Eu falo para que cuidado que ela quebra.
It's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe too sweet.
Mm-mm.
No. How do you describe it?
It's very rich.
Mm-hmm.
Peanut butter is made from the peanuts, so it's peanut butter.
Okay, peanut butter in a different way.
Well, you know, you can make peanut butter dessert. But it's good and it's rich and it's creamy and it's nutty and the sugar isn't grainy.
Okay.
And it meshes really good. I give this dessert a 10 as well because it's perfect. Like, have you ever seen a Chico stick?
No.
I'll have to buy you one. So a Chico stick tastes just like this, but it's made in it's crunchy.
Okay.
It's like a candy and it's crunchy. And we ate it since I was a little girl. But it's called Chico stick and it's really good and it tastes like this.
Okay.
Hard.
We have something like you described, like a crunchy made by peanut. We call it pé de moleque, but it's also peanut and sugar, but it's not sugar. It's like a caramel, but dried. So it's hard and crunchy. So
but that's really good. I like peanut butter any kind of way I can get it.
Okay. You're doing well.
That's why you married her, buddy.
We're doing well. Okay, so I'll give you just a little bit because we usually in Brazil we don't. So I mean we do. Me personally, and most of the people that I know, they eat açaí mixed with a lot of stuff like banana, strawberry, even M&Ms, and we mix everything and taste really good. So I give you just a little bit.
I got you.
So I don't like just eat the açaí by itself.
It's good.
Okay.
Amazingly.
I like it.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it an 8 because It reminds me of gelato.
Gelato.
Like a thicker ice cream type
Mhm,
base.
mhm.
But I like the flavor. So now when I go and I see it, I would add it to a drink or something like that.
Okay.
But just not by
It's
itself.
really good.
So I can understand why you don't like it by itself because it's very powerful.
Oh yeah.
It's very
great.
pungent, very potent.
So that's all we have. I think we have a good rate.
It's great. Everything is good.
Pretty good. Not bad. So now we have some questions from our followers.
Okay.
Let's see what happened here. Let's see
Okay.
how curious they are.
Vamos lá. Lucas Acácio perguntou: Você acredita que os Estados Unidos é o melhor país para se viver?
So Lucas Acácio, beijo, my brother.
Your
So,
brother.
he asked, "Do you believe that United States is the best country to live?"
That's funny because I have to say yes because I've never lived in another country, right?
Okay.
So I wouldn't know any
You
different.
got no experience outside.
So I mean, I've been to other places, but I've never lived in another country. So it's one thing to visit somewhere, and it's another thing to live there.
Mhm.
So when you visit, you get to see the surface,
Okay.
but then when you live it, you get to dig down deep in it,
Mhm.
and then you get to find out what it really is. Because when you're visiting, you're just really wanting to see, the things that you see on TV, the spotlight places, and all that kind of stuff. You never really get to see what the government is like. You never get to see what the people are really like. You gravitate to the resorts,
Mhm.
the resorts, and not the mainland. So you don't know all those things. So for me, I have to say yes because I don't know any different.
Okay.
If I knew different, I could answer better.
Fair enough.
O Ismarley John perguntou como ela imagina que é o Brasil.
Ismarley, beijo. So Ismarley is asking you, how do you imagine Brazil is?
I think I imagine Brazil as an exotic place because that's what we see on movies. And then when we see Brazilian people on movies, they're all exotic. And so, that's how we see it. And then I get to meet Marcos and I get to be around Deborah. I say Deborah, but for some reason it's Deborah.
Yeah.
And I have Deborah, so I get to be around Deborah, and I get to see the difference. It's like Deborah's very reserved, right?
Mhm.
And then Marcos is very outgoing. So when I met her, I immediately called Marcos so she would have a common bond and she would be able to open up to people. So it's like when I think of Brazil, I think of exotic people with very, very beautiful bodies and sexy and beautiful and straight hair and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, that's what I see, but I'm sure it's not always like that for some people. But then when I met Marcos, I realized that Brazilian people are just regular, normal people, just like Americans, just with a different set of cultural norms.
Great. But how about the place itself?
The place itself, I feel like is exotic. I feel like it's somewhere that, you want to go and you want to have an experience of doing all these things that you see. Like you want to experience the beach and the small bathing suits and the freedom to be, I guess, topless on the beach and all this other kind of stuff that you see, So I just think that it's a really exotic place with a lot of, great nightlives and all that kind of stuff.
Great.
Gustavo Silva perguntou: Por que país tão rico não tem saúde pública? Isso tem como funciona?
Wow, that's a deep question. Gustavo Silva, beijo. So he's asking, say that again.
Por que país tão rico
Why a rich country as the United States
não tem saúde pública? Isso
doesn't
tem como
have public health care? And
funciona? Se tem como
if
funciona?
so, if it does have, how it works?
Okay, we do not have, does he mean, when he say public health care, does he mean free health care for
Free
all
healthcare,
citizens?
yeah.
Okay, so let's address the first part. America being wealthy. Are we? I don't think so. I think America has portrayed to be wealthy for a very long time. But at this point in life, we realize that the wealth came from borrowing from other countries and alliances with other countries, because we see those countries pulling out of America and doing different things and making new currency. And then now America has higher prices and inflation and all this other stuff. So is America really wealthy? I don't think they're as wealthy as people think they are. They just, so.
How about the public health care.
The public health care.
Do we have it here?
We do not have public health care. I think, I know Canada has public health care, free health care for all people. The United States does not have that. I pay every 2 weeks. So it's paid. I mean, they have some subsidies that, you know, if you make under the poverty level, that you can get health care that's paid by the government, but it's not free for all of them.
I don't know if you know it. In Brazil, we have it. We have
Oh,
free health care for every single one, even the
that's
tourists
amazing.
and everything. So
That's
we
amazing.
are proud of it. Most of us, at least.
Próximo é do Weiner.
Weiner, beijo.
It's my brother.
Is your brother?
Ele perguntou, já sofreu algum tipo de preconceito? Ele tem duas perguntas, pra falar a verdade. Essa, qual a impressão o americano tem do brasileiro, que ele acha pessoalmente, o que ele nota no geral dos americanos? Acho que ela já respondeu.
He asking you two questions. The first is, have you ever suffered any racism or stuff like that here in the United States?
Yeah, racism is real everywhere, and sometimes it's something that you don't really recognize until after the person left. Like little things, like especially in customer service, it's like, you know, a person not wanting to put the money in your hand and instead they want to slide it on the counter.
Okay.
You know, so that's hidden racism. You know, because you don't think my hand is clean enough for you to put your money in your hand, but money is the dirtiest thing in the world. You know, so you know, so that's frequent. And that happens all over the place, and everywhere you go, it's like little hidden things that sometimes in the moment you're not thinking that it was racism until you get a moment and you can breathe and you be like, yeah,
Okay.
that wasn't quite right.
Okay. And the second question, I think you already answered. As I said, he's asking, what do you think about Brazilian people? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've only met a couple that you know, personally. And I think the ones that I have come in contact with are like really awesome people. Like they have great personalities, great insight, and they're very smart.
Agora temos uma outra pergunta, bem daquele estilo. Qual a visão? É da Bárbara.
Okay.
Marinho.
Bárbara Marinho, beijo.
Qual a visão que ela tem em relação à política do Brasil?
So she's asking you your point of view about Brazilian politics. I don't know if you are aware or if you know about it, but do you know anything about Brazilian politics?
I've never researched Brazilian politics, because I really try to keep my political views kind of tight and close to myself, because, you know, my views are my views. And so then when you put them out there in the world, they become able to be scrutinized, and then you become a target by people who don't have the same views that you have. So I kind of like, I'm one of those type of people that I keep it to myself and just listen. But I've never, ever have tried to, you know, go into understanding someone else's government unless it's like, you know, state by state. You know, if I'm like, when I left North Carolina, I want to know what the government was like here in South Carolina before I moved here. So, you know, if it was somewhere, if I was thinking about moving to Brazil, I would definitely research it, but I have not. And like I said before, I don't listen at the news because it's depressing. So I just, you know, go by day.
Ela fez outra pergunta, que é qual estado ela visitaria, com exceção do Rio de Janeiro?
So that's a pretty interesting question. Barbara is also asking you which state in Brazil you would visit beside the Rio de Janeiro, which is the most famous. I don't know if you know the states in Brazil. Of course, I think you don't have to know it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you don't know every single one, but do you know any other state that you would visit beside the Rio de Janeiro?
I have no clue of any states in Brazil, but when I go visit somewhere, I always try to go to the least important place. Like since Rio de Janeiro is the most beautiful place in this well talked about, I try to go somewhere that's not there, because that just lets me know that I'm going to be around a lot of people just like me. Mm-hmm. So if I want to go around people just like me, I stay home. You know, I want to go do something different and, you know, and see something different and be around people who are different. So I would definitely like, you know, sometimes it's like, even here in the United States, I just open the map and I'll say, let's go here. And then we'll choose 5 places. and then everybody will research something there, and then that's how we'll choose where we're going to go on vacation, because sometimes we, there's so many things to do in so many states that sometimes it's right here in North Carolina, South Carolina. You can visit a million different places one time and your life span is still going,
Okay. So Minas is the best, I'm telling you.
Is that where you're from?
If you go there, I'm pretty sure you're gonna eat a lot of pão de queijo every day with coffee. So keep that in mind.
What's it called?
Minas Gerais.
Minas Gerais.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go with the shirt on that says, I know Marcos.
Everyone will know me. Keep that in mind.
Bom, a última pergunta é da Paula. Por que o café da manhã tem muitas coisas pesadas como bacon e ovos mexidos? É tradição.
Beijo, Paula. So Paula is asking you why American breakfast has a lot of stuff, heavy stuff like bacon, sausage, and heavy stuff. Okay. Is it culture?
It's cultural. So when the foundation for America was built, and there was Native Americans here, and now they're called Indians instead of Native Americans. So therefore, they lived off the land. So whatever there was, whatever animals were on the land, and they grew corn and all this other stuff. So it's just the fact that they ate what they had. So that's where all that heaviness came from. And then they say breakfast is the most important meal of the day because it's breaking the fast. So you sleep all night and you don't eat. So breakfast should always be your heaviest meal because you're starting your day. And so then your lunch should be, a little bit lighter, and your dinner should be very light because you're going to bed to lay down. So.
Espero que tenha respondido a sua pergunta, a sua dúvida. A gente fica por aqui. Agradeço muito a todos vocês que chegaram até nessa parte aqui. Espero que vocês tenham gostado dessa entrevista. Eu, pessoalmente, amei, adorei conversar, tirar minhas dúvidas, tirar as dúvidas de vocês que estão assistindo. Espero que esse quadro fique por muito, muito tempo, que vocês curtam. Agradeço muito a Miss Tiffany por ter tirado um tempinho para vir aqui e conversar com a gente um pouquinho. Thank you so much, Miss Tiffany, once again, to take your time to come in our house, to speak with us, with our people. I hope you had a great experience with us.
I did, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you.
I see you guys later.
Não esqueça de deixar o seu like, colocar nos comentários o que você achou, se inscrever no nosso canal e seguir a gente nas redes sociais. Valeu, tchau!